And so this is kind of the royalty at the time, and a lot of the nation were behind this movement. Would you say?
No, I'd say England was mostly Catholic when it was... I mean, it was Catholic for so long until Henry changed it.
But do you reckon some of them were like, oh, we can divorce now? That's pretty good.
Yeah, probably. There's some benefits, but the Puritans in England were crazy. They were worse than the Catholic Church in a lot of respects.
Right.
I mean, they had some rules, man.
Okay, they had some rules.
And so you had these subsects as well of Protestantism, different levels of Puritanism,
Yes.
basically.
Okay.
But so Elizabeth, when she came in, she reversed what Mary had done, which was to try and make England Catholic again, and she brought back the Protestant Church, the Church of England of her father.
But she didn't do it in the same way, did she? She did it in a more sort of mellow sort of, you can if you want, but you don't have to.
That's right. So what she did, essentially, the reason that Elizabeth's part of why her reign is considered so successful is the way that she dealt with this religious divide in England, this Reformation. She basically created a new Church of England that straddled the line between the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church. She sort of took a little from column A and a little from column B and made a compromise in the middle.
And the people responded well to that, or they were like, well, what are we then?
Well, when we look at how well the people responded to it, you have to look at it over a broader period of time. So it would have been quite difficult for a long time, and there would have been a divide for a long time. But you look and see that as an historical context, it became the foundation stone for what England is today, the way that the church is run today. Everyone, in England is under the same. They're Protestants, So
yeah, but I suppose also history is written by the rulers and the
victors
and the victors. But as in, I'm meaning the people of the day probably weren't able to write too much history about it all. Like they weren't necessarily writing how happy they were.
Yeah, so there would have been a period for sure where they were not happy.
Yeah.
But if you look at England today, you can see a pretty solidified church.
Okay. All right. England's religious shifts in this period were dramatic. Do you think Elizabeth's religious compromise was truly successful in the long term?
Yes, I do. I think that it's generally accepted that Elizabeth was the leading figurehead in creating a system whereby Protestants and Catholics could live together.
Okay.
She was the first person to really settle that really heavy divide.
Yeah.
And create a unified church. I mean, that was one of the fundamental things that she did in her reign.
Well played.
Yeah.
Well played, Elizabeth. Lizzie.
Yeah. And we see the church today. I mean, you would say, well, now England's a lot more multicultural, but you would say that England up until recently has been basically under one church. There's very few Catholics in England.
Yeah. I actually went to a Catholic wedding the other month in Birmingham.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the most extravagant, huge building. And I commented on that. And somebody said, well, that's because Henry VIII took all the big ones. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, when he changed the religion, he stole all of the impressive Catholic big churches. So all the Catholics had to find a new home.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, so he took the biggest churches for the Church of England.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually, doesn't that lead on to a fact you said about how the gentry, they were fueled by Henry VIII's death, and therefore loads of properties were released?
Yeah, we could talk about that. So one of the main reasons for the golden age during this period was England's prosperity and economic strength and growth.
Yeah.
And one of the benefactors of this growth period economically was the rising class of the gentry. Now, the gentry were the non-noble landowners.
Non-noble?
Non-aristocratic landowners.
Okay, so they were just landlords.
Yes, they were a class of people who owned vast tracts of land, and they were quite high in the social hierarchy.
Yeah, of course, you own land.
Yeah, so England was basically, at this time, extremely rigidly socially hierarchical.
Yes.
So you had the royalty, followed by the aristocracy and nobles, followed by the gentry, landed gentry, followed by the landowners, farmers, yeomen farmers, tenants, and then the workers.
That was brilliant. That was really good summary. I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I followed that whole ladder.
Oh,
that
yeah?
was great. Well done.
Great,
Yeah.
thanks.
You can drop the mic now and leave.
I'll see you later. You get your own way home, yeah.